welcome to my new canning pantry. I've just gotten it finished now and I'm so excited to show you around. We go through about 750 jars a year, and I counted this as I was putting it up, but I actually have 753 jars. I do have a couple of gaps that I missed when I wasn't as organized upstairs, so I will fill in some things, and then I'll of course give a lot of the jams and jellies and things as gifts over the holiday season to neighbors and friends. So welcome to Garden Preserve. This is Carter, and I'm thrilled you're here with me today, and I'm thrilled to walk you through my brand new canning pantry. All right, let's take the tour, shall we? We're going to start way back in the corner over here. This top row is going to be relishes and salsas and like barbecue sauce, hot sauce, chutneys, jams, and jellies. So this is my corn relish. This is one of the first things I ever made when I started canning, and I love it. It's straight out of the ball book. It's just so tasty on a taco bowl, on a taco, on burritos. I love that. A little sweet pickle relish. I have not tried this yet. We had so many pickles in the garden this year that I probably made more of that than I needed. Bruschetta, we made this together, so I'm really excited about this. Have not had a chance to put it out for a party yet, but I will over the holidays. I have a couple of barbecue sauces. This one is the Ball Book barbecue sauce. It's okay. I mean, it's good. It's good. I've made this for years and years, and it's good. But I found one this year that, even though I had a bunch of these, I made it anyway. And it's delicious. So this one, to me, I made this in October, and I have a video on that. So this, to me, is the best barbecue sauce. So now I have a lot of barbecue sauce to eat through this year, but we'll work on it. On to hot sauces. My husband is a fan of hot sauces, so I have a couple of different colors, different heat levels, hot sauce, hotter sauce, and then this one, he tells me we have to call fire. So he doesn't mistakenly just douse his wings in it. He has to put this one in ketchup, and then he loves it, but it's pretty darn hot. These are potatoes that are canned the way you're supposed to can potatoes. This is canned in water, and I think they're terrible. So you guys have given me lots of ideas of ways to try them. So maybe they would be edible, things you could add to a mash, or one gentleman today, I think it was Al, recommended I use them for pierogies. So I will try all those things. But basically, these are still in my pantry, waiting for the apocalypse to come. So if all the other food is gone, if I'm really hungry, I'll eat these. Now we move on to the way I do potatoes these days. So these are, I have a couple of different sizes. These are dry canned Yukon Golds. I smash them and roast them and crisp them up, and they're just delicious. I have a video on that. This is my newest obsession. We just did a video on this. So these are dry canned potatoes, dry canned hash browns. Sorry, these are French fries, hash browns. They cook up perfectly, absolutely perfectly, just like fresh potatoes. You can't, by looking at them, you can't tell any difference. There's just a very slight difference in taste, but I think they're fabulous. My husband thinks they're fabulous. He had no idea they had been canned. So these are the ones that I'm saving for y'all, so that we can look. You can see I have a little YT there, so we saved them for YouTube, so that we can monitor how they change, if at all, over time. So I have those on the shelf, but I'm going to be making quite a bit more of those for myself. And then this is how I'll be doing mashed potatoes from now on. This is a dry can mash, also from that same video. This is the one I'm saving for YouTube, but I'll be making my own. So I have that on my list. All right, we're going to go down to the pork row. This is something you're not supposed to can. Big surprise there. This is ham. This is a cooked ham like you would get, well, I got it at Costco, but like you'd get it at a grocery store. And I cubed it up, filled the jar with water, and canned it. Now I saw Simple Living Alaska do this, and they took a whole bunch of heat for doing it, but you know, they don't care. It works for them. So I did it and I love it. Now you do not get, you know, the light pink canned ham like you get at the grocery store. That's, you know, that's kind of how it started. This is more of an intense flavor. It gets darker. Like if you made like ham and pea soup or something like that, or ham and vegetable soup, it's something that cooked for quite some time, or you know, put a ham bone in your collard greens or something like that. It gets that, it gets darker, more intense, more smoky in flavor. That's what this is. At least that's how it tastes to me. So, you know, I make soups with this, and honestly, you know, I fry some up and put it in my eggs in the morning, and I think it's great. So it works for me. This coloring is purely from the ham, so I imagine that's that caramel color we're not supposed to be eating. So I'm going with the fact that at least I'm getting some of it out. I don't know, we'll see, but I do enjoy this. This is a hot, spicy Italian sausage, and I use this for a couple of different things. One, we like it in our spaghetti sauce, so I'll do that quite often. And secondly, if I make a quiche, this is wonderful to put in a quiche. And third, I'm going to be using it here over the next few weeks for sausage dressing to go with our turkeys for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I'm down to about 6 jars of this, so it's time to make some more. I'm going to try to pick some up on sale over the holiday season. Usually you can get it a little bit cheaper, but you know, who knows what's going on this year. So this is dry canned. There's a little bit of fat left, so I drained off most of the fat, put it in here. It shrinks up a bit, but it's not soggy. You know, if you can it in water, to me, I feel like I have to squeeze it out before I use it. But I can throw this right in the pan. There's no, you know, big splatter from all the water, or I don't have to cook it forever to get it to dry up a bit to get a better texture. This works really well for me. All right, I have a couple different types of what I just call pulled pork here. This one was cooked prior. I cooked a pork, and you can see it's a little bit browner because it was cooked before. This is raw packed, a little bit pinker in there. This was raw packed with no water, and all that came out of the pork. This had I put a little bit of water in this. I knew that some fat was going to come out, which is great. So both of them taste great. We'll say that the raw pack one, as much as I think raw pack is usually the easier way to go, this was more difficult because I'm cutting around all the fat. Whereas once it's cooked, it's much easier to cut around the fat. So something to think about. But I have both, and they're both equally delicious. Down on this shelf, I'm running low on my broth as we come into soup and stew season. So this is onion stock. I also have beef stock, turkey, and chicken. And I think this holiday season I'm going to make sure I get plenty more turkey, probably turkey stock, on the shelf. I need to find a good source for some good bones for some beef stock. I don't have one of those yet, but I'm going to work on that because I don't have enough. These, I think, are just the prettiest colors. I love these two shells. So quickly, when I started canning, I only had a water bath canner, and this was 11 or 12 years ago. And so I did all of the relishes and the salsas and the jams and the jellies and the chutneys and the tomatoes and, you know, the pickled peppers, and they were just so pretty and on the pantry shelf. But I ran into a couple of issues for me. One, I thought they were too pretty for us to eat, just, you know, on a Wednesday kind of thing. I wanted to save them for gifts. I wanted to save them for company. I wanted to save them for whatever, right? Made no sense, but I don't know. Anyway, so I finally decided, okay, hey, we need to eat this stuff now before it sits there for too long. And so I went in one day and I was like, okay, I'm going to make something totally homemade. Well, you know, it was hard to make a meal out of salsa and blueberry jam. So that's when I decided, okay, I need to expand what I'm doing. I bought a pressure canner, and so I started making meals in jars. So I'd make, you know, a chili or a Brunswick stew or whatever, some of the things I'll show you in a second. And that was great. My son loved it when he was home. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, if he'd been studying or more likely playing video games or, you know, whatever he was doing, he could come up and have a decent homemade meal. I knew what was in it, and he wasn't, you know, getting pizza takeout or eating a bag of Doritos or something. My husband loved it because he could eat whatever he wanted to eat it. All he had to do was pop it in the microwave and it's done. You know, I enjoyed it when I needed something quick, but when it came to putting together a family dinner, again, we could all have our own individual things, but I didn't really feel like I was making dinner, like it was something we could all do together. When they're individual jars, everybody can just kind of go their separate ways. So I didn't have enough versatility with that. Couldn't put something together I really felt good about. So that's when I went to just the straight meats, and potatoes and sweet potatoes and all the component parts, so all the basics. But then when you go to put together a meal and you just have all the basics, it's very versatile, but there's a lot involved from there. So there's a lot of seasoning, there's a lot of different ways to combine things, and I don't know, it was a little more time consuming than I wanted, and I ended up doing the same things over and over again. So I felt like it wasn't as versatile as I wanted it to be, even though it should have been. So that's when I decided I really needed all three of these in my pantry. I needed the flavor, I needed the base, and then I needed the convenience of having the meals in jars, particularly for my husband to come grab whatever he wanted. So now I feel like I have a successful working pantry for us. So peach salsa, fantastic. I have a video on that one. It is really good. I made a bunch of that this summer. I have a couple of different salsas. This is a roasted salsa. This is the zesty salsa. They're both the exact same ingredients out of the Ball book, but this one, instead of chopping everything individually, I roasted everything, stuck it in the blender. It took less than half the time. So much faster. They're both delicious, different textures to them, but they're both great. I have videos actually on both of those. Salsa verde, we made this together. This is half green tomatoes and half tomatillos. I have not tried it yet. Made it in October, so I'm going to give it its full 6 to 8 weeks before I try that one. This is one that was shoved in the back of the cabinet, left over from 2020. This is pineapple salsa, and it looks pretty on screen, but it is discolored from where it started a couple of years ago. And pineapple, I think, really does that. So it is worth making. It is fabulous, but if you make it, try to eat it all within the first year. This is still good. We just had a jar a couple of weeks ago, so I'm going to finish it, but I wouldn't serve it to guests because it's not as pretty as it should be. This is mango salsa. This is one of my husband's favorites. It is delicious. I had a great deal on mangoes this summer, so I made a good bit of that for him. Now let's talk about sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes, so I can sweet potatoes, but I don't eat them. I find them kind of waterlogged to me, you know, so if I get to make that into a mash, or if I get to take these and roast them in the oven so they get crispy, I just find them waterlogged, really. So here they sit. I'm going to try to find a way to dry can those so that they're not so mushy, but anyway, I will have to work on that. For right now, I have plenty of fresh sweet potatoes that I grew this year, so I'll be working on those. Okay, this is a fail. It is still here because I feel guilty about throwing out food. This is collards. This is from 2020. You know, there was not much else to do in 2020. So I love collard greens. I'm a Southern girl. It should have been a total win for me. But the recipe I was using said to cook them until they are completely done, like ready to eat. And in the South, we cook them until they're done, right? So I did that, and then I put them in the jar, and they turned to mush. So I was so disappointed. If I had chickens, these would be eggs by now, but here they sit on my shelf. So I don't know, I need to do better with that one. This is really fun. I love these, orange and grapefruit. So it's just orange and grapefruit. There's no syrup in there, no sugar, no nothing. They can up so well. The texture stays great. The flavor is great. I love having a little bit of citrus every now and then. And then the prettiest thing I think in the entire pantry is always the pickled peppers. So these are banana peppers, all different colors. These are hot cherry peppers. So we use these in sandwiches, on pizzas, on nachos. My husband likes them in salads. We just love our pickled peppers. I have pickled beets. My husband's not a fan. I'm trying to be a bigger fan because they're so good for blood pressure. But I'm not a huge fan yet, but I'm getting there. Regular dill, garlic dill pickles. I have several quarts of these. I have a lot of fermented pickles upstairs in the garage refrigerator. We ate so many pickles this summer. I'm a little over pickles. So we'll see if I even grow cucumbers next year. It's kind of pickle overload this year. So this is raw pack stew meat. I do a lot of this because I use it in everything. So, tacos, turn it into chili, turn it into a beef stew, turn it into a beef vegetable soup, burritos, anything. Heck, I even crisp it up and put it in my eggs, but you probably figured out by now I put anything in my eggs. I love eggs, but you gotta change them up. You can't eat the same thing every day. Down here is ground beef. So we use this in spaghetti, tacos, burritos, all the same stuff. I don't pack it in water because I find I need to squeeze it out before I use it if I do that. So this is not the approved method. This is a dry pack method, but I much prefer it, and I've had excellent luck with it. I've been doing it this way for years, and it tastes so much better to me. So that's what I do. Then down to the meals. Let's get a couple of meals out here. Okay, this is chili, complete meal in a jar. My husband just grabs it, heats it up, all good. This is more of a meal starter. This is beef tips and gravy. And when I say gravy, there's no thickener in there yet. I add the thickener as I'm cooking it. So, and then I pour it on top of noodles or rice or potatoes, turn it into a stew, add some potatoes and some carrots. Really hearty, really delicious. There's another beef meal starter. This one adds tomatoes, onions, garlic, and beef cubes, beef broth. It's wonderful for me. I can turn that, I don't know if you can see the chunks, I can turn that into anything and make a super easy dinner. And then add, vegetables, starch, whatever. Others, this is taco meat. Super easy. My husband sometimes gets a hankering for a taco salad, and if I'm not in the mood for a taco salad or I'm not here, he can just grab this, heat it up, make his own taco salad, so that's easy. This is pot roast, so it is just chuck roast with onions, garlic, and beef broth, a bunch of other seasonings, and I love that on top of noodles or on top of rice. Okay, Texas chili. We just made this together. It's really, really good. So no beans in this. Uses chuck roast instead of ground beef. It's delicious. It is it's from Bernardin, I think I'm saying that right, out of Canada. So the sister to Ball. So it is, I guess, an official recipe, at least Canadian official recipe. I don't know, but it's really good. This is another fail for me, again from 2020 when Carter was bored. This is meatloaf. This is Rebel canning. This is not an approved method, and I didn't think it was very good. I wanted to love it because I love meatloaf. So it's just, it was raw packed. I've tried all kinds of different ways to serve it. I've tried slicing it and crisping it up. I've tried putting barbecue sauce on it. I've made it into a sandwich because I love meatloaf sandwiches. I just don't like it. So it sits on my shelf, and I guess when the apocalypse comes, I'm going to be having meatloaf, collard greens, and those gross potatoes back there, which maybe will all sound appealing by then. But anyway, that's the meatloaf. That was a fail. I won't be showing you that one. This is one of my favorite sections. These are my chutneys and jams and jellies. If you don't know about chutneys, it's always a combination of fruit, vegetable, vinegar, and some sort of sweetener. Sometimes it's honey, sometimes it's maple syrup, sometimes it's sugar. In my case, I use a lot of non-calorie sweeteners. So I use a lot of allulose, particularly, or some stevia. They're so good to serve on top of like a grilled pork tenderloin or a pork chop, or a piece of grilled chicken. Excellent. They're also really good served on a charcuterie board if you're entertaining. So take a little cracker, maybe some goat cheese, piece of salami, and then a dollop of chutney on top. Takes it to a whole new level. So I hope you'll give them a shot. This is pear chutney. We did not can this together, but it's fantastic. I made a ton of it because everybody loves it. So I'll be giving some of that for holiday gifts. This is a pineapple cranberry. It's really good. This one is a conserve. It doesn't have the spicy element to it, but it does have some ginger. It's really nice. This is an apricot chutney. Also great. They all kind of, they look a little on the brown side, but if you get close up, you can really see the beauty of all the colors and the different chunks in there. They're so popular with all my friends and neighbors. Blueberry ginger. I have not tried this one yet. Made it in July, so it's time now I can give it a try. So I need to do that. Put that on my list. This is a mango. I'll show you the bigger one. Mango chutney. We love this. Love anything mango. Again, that's one of my husband's favorites. So we use that quite a bit. And then this one is so pretty. This is a mango ginger preserve. Isn't that stunning? I think that's just absolutely beautiful. So I haven't tried it yet, but it's time now. I can give it a shot. So I'm going to try some of that because I just think it's so beautiful. I hope it's wonderful. Apple cranberry chutney. We just made this, a week, 2 weeks ago when my son was home. That's delicious. We had some that night on some pork tenderloin. It was fantastic. It was great on that chicken sandwich. And it's going to be great on our turkey sandwiches after the holidays. So I'm really happy to have that. Peach chutney. I have a video on that one as well. Really delicious. I love the combination of the sweet and the heat and the vinegar. It's fantastic. Peach preserves. These are beautiful. They taste great. That's good. This is a Pomona pectin recipe. I like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches a lot. So I made myself some grape jelly. That's what I like on my peanut butter jelly sandwiches. I have some apple jelly. Apple jelly as well. Sometimes you just got to go back to the basics. This is our standard berry cherry jam that we eat more than any of the others. This is Pomona pectin. It's great. It's nice and chunky. It's not a hard set, but it is set. It's just not a hard chunky set. It's more of a, really chunky preserves. It's quite good. So I need to make some more of that. I make it out of frozen fruit. So I have a bunch of frozen berries and cherries in my freezer. So I need to get to that. You'll see, maybe you can't see on the screen here, but I have some extra space here where all of my tomato sauce will be shortly. I have not made most of it. I've only made a few jars so far, but I took all of the tomatoes that were green before the first frost and harvested those, and as they've turned red, I've moved them to the freezer. So I probably have 30 pounds in there right now and another 10 or 15 that are still green. So as those change and everything gets ready, I'll turn it into tomato sauce. I call my tomato sauce trifecta sauce, so I know that it also has onions and garlic in it. I don't have to bring out the onions and garlic. I don't have to peel the onions, which is a crying issue for me. And the garlic is just, it's messy and it's hard to keep fresh, I think. So I will make plenty more of that here in the next few weeks. This is the same thing, only it's not turned into a sauce. So it's roasted tomatoes, garlic, and onions. Then I have a bunch of different just tomato products. Great tomatoes with basil. And this is beautiful, like in a pasta dish. Throw it at the last minute just so that they warm through. Maybe put some pesto sauce in there. Fantastic. Love that. This is pizza sauce. So that's fun. It's a delicious pizza sauce. I was going to make tomato sauce, but it was so good. I decided it needed to stand on its own, so I turned it into a pizza sauce. And then I just have a variety of other. These are crushed tomatoes. These are plum tomatoes and basil. So we go through a lot of tomato products. I do try to keep this stocked. I do feel I do feel very low, quite frankly, on this shelf right now because I haven't made my sauce yet. So I'm hoping that when I get the sauce made, I'll feel better about this sauce. Ugly chicken. This is just raw packed chicken. They call it ugly chicken. I don't know. It looks like chicken to me. Again, so incredibly versatile. You know, I make chicken salad all the time. It's great for chicken soup, stews, burritos, you know, the whole thing we've been through. I like to make it kind of a taco style and serve it on top of nachos. It's really good. This is another one of those things that I don't think you're supposed to do, but I did it anyway. This is a prepared turkey breast from Costco. So I just cut it into chunks, filled it up with some chicken broth, and then when I go to serve this, I thicken up the broth and I crush up a little bit of the turkey. It just kind of comes apart as full turkey, and then I serve it over rice or pasta, and it's really good. My husband loves it. It's more of a meal starter than an individual component, but it's good. Brunswick stew. We just did this together recently too. This, you know, as a Southern girl, I kind of grew up on this stuff, and I love it. It has some of everything in it, tons of vegetables, tons of different meats, great flavor. So this is a wonderful thing that I always keep on the shelf. Some chicken soup. Running low on chicken soup, so I hope I'll get some turkey soup done after the holidays. And this is a chicken corn chowder. This is one of my son's favorites. So it has corn and potatoes and chicken and onions and garlic and all sorts of seasonings in there. Super easy, super delicious. This is French onion soup. We did occasionally a soup, but I tell you, one of my favorite ways to use it is as a gravy. So I heat this up on the stove, and then I stick in my immersion blender and churn up all those onions, and it kind of thickens it naturally. Makes a wonderful gravy to serve on top of, you know, chicken or rice or beef or whatever you have. So that's my favorite use for French onion soup. And then last but not least is another meal starter. This is the chicken verde. So it has tomatillos and peppers and onions and garlic and chicken. And I just use this as a starter. So I make chicken white chili, I make tortilla soup, chicken tortilla soup. I do all kinds of things with this. I can turn it into enchiladas or burritos again. But it's a great meal starter for me. All my flavor is already in there. I just need to put it together into a meal. All right, so let's talk about the holes that I have here, because I wasn't really able to see everything I had all at once and do a good inventory. I have no cranberry sauce on my shelf right now. So I have some cranberries, so I'm going to turn that into cranberry sauce for the shelf. I have lots of frozen berries in my freezer that I need to move out, so I'm going to make some more berry jam. We talked about all those tomatoes in my freezer, so I'm going to do the trifecta sauce. Broth. I definitely need more broth, so I'm going to try to get a good bit of turkey broth on the shelf, and I'd like to get some turkey meat, some cooked turkey meat, cooked fresh turkey meat as opposed to the prepared turkey that I have there. I'd like to get some of that on the shelf as well, because I don't have any right now. And then I feel like I could do Thanksgiving on a whim, right? So that would be a lot of fun. What else? Oh, enchilada sauce. I definitely want to get some of that on the shelf because we do like enchiladas a lot. And there's only one brand where I'm comfortable with the ingredients, and it is ridiculously expensive. It's like $8 a jar. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make my own, and I'll bring you along for that one if you're interested. So that, I think that's my pantry. I think that's what I have. So I'm so glad you're here with me today. I'm happy to share it with you. If there's anything else you want to know, any questions you have, how I use anything, if you want to see videos on how I use things, if you want to see videos on anything that you see here today that I don't have a video on already, let me know, and I will see you next time. This is Carter. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Bye-bye.